to this Cannabis Pitch Live, the state and the industry of cannabis, CBD, medical marijuana, and hemp. It's all related. It is all part of the process. And we're here to talk about how to make money first and foremost. Excuse me if my speech is a little slurred today. Had a little dental surgery yesterday. I've been delaying and had to finally get it done. So with that said, let's kick it off with Jeff Walter as of Cannabis Pitch Live, and you can do your thing and have a conversation with us, Jeff.
Well, welcome everybody. First thing I'm going to say is this: it would be great if everyone could turn on their video so that we could all say hello.
We don't need to see them; they're all ugly, except me.
If you'd like, if you don't. No worries if you don't want to. So here is the deal today. Let's talk about the cannabis industry and one of the biggest things that's happening in the cannabis industry.
Before we start, you didn't shave today either, I see. No mercy.
The biggest things in the cannabis industry is a lot of the cannabis companies are turning to making hand sanitizer, and they're trying to help out with the FDA's need to produce hand sanitizer for the government, and the countries around the world are looking for it, and this has become a hot spot for a lot of the companies out there. Just a note about today, the FDA did say that most of the hand sanitizer coming from pop-up places, such as the marijuana companies that are doing this, have problems with the ethanol that they're getting. Because a lot of the ethanol has cancer-related particles in it, which is going to severely slow down the ability for people that have hand sanitizer manufacturers to be able to manufacture hand sanitizer, as ethanol is one of the key ingredients. So having said that, I just wanted to kind of brief everyone on that particular situation in the business, and then also to talk a little bit about the opportunity for people to recognize it's time to review your payment processing needs. The payment processing world for the marijuana, THC, and the CBD space has changed dramatically. It has gone from a brick and mortar place of business to the online space. So if anyone listening to this conversation is going to want to learn a little bit more about how to change your game and change your ability to take payments cashless on the internet, please give CJ Rocks Consulting a call. That would be myself or our director of sales on this meeting, Joe Hager, and we can help guide you through the process of making sure that you're electronically taking payments. Because if you're not in today's world, you're pretty much out of the equation. If you still have a delivery system and you're delivering to people's homes, we have a way that you can accept check and credit card through a device at the customer's door, so that your people are not taking cash. This is very important. We don't want people spending time to count cash. We want them taking checks, running through a system, and we want them taking the credit card for CBD where applicable. We will be able to help you with a cashless ATM if people are making withdrawals for their THC business. And we have an opportunity here to help you with handheld devices. So please let us know, let CJ Rocks Consulting know how we can help you expand your business in an evolving market that is changing by the minute. And we understand that you still need to get paid. There are no, well, at least I should say in New York City, we don't have the ability to walk into banks. Some people all over the country are under different restrictions. So we're looking to help where we can, and that is the state of the market at the moment. Joe, I'm going to turn it over to you if you want to talk about the state of the edibles market and the medical marijuana market, as you are the owner of Keys to Nature's Blessing and have an edible manufacturer. So maybe you could give us a little bit of a highlight on what's going on in the medical marijuana space and the edible space.
Sure, Jeff. Thanks for that introduction, and thank you everyone for joining today. Wherever you may be, we all hope you're staying safe and staying well. and abiding by the rules of whatever geographic state you might be in today. Having said that, like Jeff said, like we tested to last week, the landscape of the cannabis industry is changing before us in the midst of this pandemic. Some of the highlights for us to look forward to, in many state legislators, they have put exemptions on delivery services. Now, what does this do for the cannabis industry at large? It continues to move it closer to becoming a full circle, client-driven experience. The end user, it needs to be as seamless as Amazon, as easy as something being delivered, especially during these times. A lot of people who medicate on a day-to-day basis and depend upon this medication can't leave the comfort of their homes. This is something that has been coming for a while, but again, with the limitations that we're experiencing now, it's only pushing the industry forward. So I, for one, am very excited about that. But like Jeff said, the landscape is going to have to change. At CJ Rocks, Jeff can help you with payment processing on that end. We're very excited to be moving forward in that regard. Now, specifically with the Oklahoma landscape, like Jeff said, I've been a part of the manufacturing operation that specializes in edibles for the past 2 years. We've managed to get into about 800 dispensaries, and our specialties are gummies. Now we offer THC on the medical cannabis side, but we also do strictly hemp CBD gummies as well. So one fraction of our business we like to refer to as clean money, and the other part as dirty money. Now in the Oklahoma landscape, it is a free market, and by that I mean if anyone knows anything about cannabis, getting licenses can be very difficult. Oklahoma chose the route of opening up the market. By that I mean there's roughly about 2,000 dispensaries right now. About 3,000 total licenses have been granted, and within the first year of legalization of medical cannabis, 250,000 people signed up to be patients and were passed as patients. Now that's in a population of 4 million, and within the first year. Those numbers are really good. So personally, the landscape of Oklahoma is really taking off. Going to nationwide and worldwide, edibles, they're becoming a very important alternative to patients who choose to medicate on a day-to-day basis for whatever needs they may need to do that for. In turn, as more deaths start to happen, as people wake up and start to realize that smoking is a risk, the edibles market is going to continue to thrive. We've already seen this reflected in our sales just in the last month. I think consumers are starting to wise up. They're starting to listen to the doctors on TV, and slowly but surely, sadly, I feel like we will start to know someone, maybe a cannabis user, who has had a rather bad experience with COVID. I think that wakes people up, and personally, being from New York, the past 10 years, I know that my cannabis friendly friends, they've started to change their mind and make more conscious, socially responsible decisions, because at the end of the day, all of us have to work together to end this pandemic, to end the senseless deaths that could be avoided. So cannabis, at the end of the day, it is a risk. It does do something to our lungs. We can all agree upon that, regardless of the way you uptake that, whether it be vapor, bong, whatever. But edibles, at the end of the day, are going to become very, very important to the industry. So in closing, I guess I'll say, and we can definitely open up the floor. I think
can you touch a little bit more about the medical marijuana sector? Somebody considering investing in that, what they should look for, private
Sure.
companies, startup companies versus public companies? Kind of give us your perspective on that.
Sure, absolutely. So a couple things. Last week we talked about opportunity zones. Right now, no doubt that it is happening before us. A lot of cannabis companies, at least with regards in Oklahoma, the big free market, what you had in the past year and a half was a large proportion of people who were entrepreneurs, maybe mom and pop farmers, and that did something very well, but saw an opportunity, something that they very much enjoyed, but may not have had the best business sense. And furthermore, the capital to back up that business plan. For example, within a year period, the legislature in Oklahoma passed laws 3 times over for us personally that affected our packaging. Okay. At first, it was we want this product to be transparent. We want, as the industry wants, everything above board. Where can the government see this? Okay, fine. We abide. 4 months later, they change it to where actually we don't want any kids possibly seeing what's inside. We don't want any kids thinking, ooh, we want to eat a gummy. Okay, well, that's fine and all. For the consumer, though, this affects their decision. At the end of the day, what we see if something is frosted, sugary, it does something. There is a human response that has been programmed into us since birth to like, to want. Okay, that's sugar. Okay, case in point, this cost us a lot of capital. Okay, we were able to eat it. It was fine. Other companies haven't been so fortunate. For example, someone might have had to replace a sink. That sink could cost upwards of $10,000. The mom and pop that have put their life savings into this business to get it up and going might not have that in their back pocket. In turn, as tax season has come about, a lot of these businesses are coming up for pennies on the dollar. So as far as opportunity zones, especially in more in newer markets that have that free market set up within their state, I would target those places to look for businesses that need relief, need assistance. You can go in and be an angel for them right now and probably be incentivized a lot. So I think that's definitely one opportunity. Secondly, with the pandemic, it's killed a lot of people, killed a lot of people's business. By that, I mean, I know personally, I have friends who have multiple dispensaries, some of which are in malls. Okay, even though they're deemed essential, that mall is not deemed essential. Therefore, that business entity is dying with every day that the malls aren't open. Okay, that's going to trickle down, affect the rest of the business, and indeed it has. So, as far as again, being an angel right now for people who, quite honestly, have really done it by the book and are in some unfortunate situations. But at the end of the day, trust in this flower, in this plant to provide medicine. There are a lot of opportunities out there, and people need help. So as far as opportunities, Reggie, I would say most definitely the opportunity zones which we were speaking to last week, they are still very ripe for the picking. So specifically for me, I would say in review, newer markets that have no limits on the licenses will probably be more ripe for the picking.
All right, so Reggie Grant here. Let me just say a few things as well. Add on to what Joe's just stated. I read a lot, receive a lot of information related to this and other industries as well. As a old English teacher, I'm always looking to provide information and access what's going on. So just a couple of points from all the things that I've been getting and the information that I've received. Cannabis sales will continue to be erratic. Of course, across the country, you have to look at the different market spaces, Joe said. what's going on in your spaces. Buyer habits are changing. The consumer market, the cannabis pickup on the sidewalk is so different in California than in Massachusetts or Denver or Kansas or Oklahoma. Crisis is, of course, driving people into ingestible. The edible space is going to explode. So if you're looking to invest, I think that's a great sector. I think the medical CBD will continue to grow. But all in all, the CBD use is definitely on the rise. But smoking is going to probably take a little bit of a dip just because people are aware of the effects of the lung issues and the pandemic has created. And of course, as Joe said, and I'm just reaffirming that, some businesses won't make it. If you're retail, just cannabis only dispensary, your odds of success and thriving are diminished in some spaces and are expanded. In California, for example, these guys are doing a boom up business. They saw major increases and then it leveled off a little bit, and now they're kind of staying pretty steady. But because we've been deemed essential business, and of course, it depends on your location and your ability to deliver, your ability. I have a couple of associates that have delivery services, and they're thriving. People that don't have that element are taking it in the hips. So on that note, Jeff, back to you. And well, matter of fact, let me just Zenobia, why don't you address the dynamic of what's happening financial wise, what you see in the space. Zenobia, you there still?
I am. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Good morning and afternoon across the country, wherever you are. Thank you, Reggie. I have similar feelings, and what I see is pretty similar. I think that, and everybody should be resetting and re-examining their business model, especially in the last 6 weeks. So, and then also research where the niche areas are and see if you can mold your business plan to fit the niche areas where investment is happening. So a lot of the money hasn't gone anywhere and people are just sitting on it and just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen because of all the uncertainty and the unknowns. But if somebody sees a good deal, especially now because valuations are diminishing, so the cost of an investor to actually get in and invest in a company is lower now. So there are some incentives for investors to take a look at doing some investments. So the idea is, if you're a business owner, to look at where a particular investor's sweet spot is and see if that fits your business model, or you can mold, at least for the time being, mold your business model to fit to get that investment. Then that's how I see it playing out.
Zenobia, that's a great point about the investment situation and an opportunity here that's coming up. One of the things that we talked about last week is the investment opportunities, especially in the opportunity zones that are going to be even hit harder now than ever before. If you thought that an opportunity zone was a good thing to do before, it may not be a bad idea to revisit that. And if you don't know what an opportunity zone is, folks, an opportunity zone is a lesser privileged area that there are certain tax abatements and reasons for people to want to turn the community around, build the community back up, and then there's a great responsibility on your shoulders to do so. So they end up giving you a lot of tax reasons to do it, to build that area back up. So, you know, I think just to piggyback on what you're saying, right now is the time, if you can afford to be involved, to get involved. If anyone out there is looking to build a fund, Joe, Reggie, and I are looking to have a fund put together that's going to focus on the cannabis industry and opportunity zones, along with other real estate types of investments. So if anyone listening is looking to invest some money right now in a fund, that would be a good time to reach out to Joe, Reggie, or myself. We are the three in charge of it. And right now we're at the place where we're getting the PPM to be put in place for this particular fund. So having said that, what I'd like to do is ask anyone that is out there that has a question to please text it to us in the Zoom group chat. You could text it to me, you could text it to Joe or Reggie, and ask a question, and we'll be happy to call on you to either answer your question from you put in writing, or have you ask us or talk about your company. Anybody out there that wants to say hello and give a quick blurb about what they do, and let us help you advertise that, as this podcast is being recorded and will be continually available for those who want to listen to it later that couldn't make it today. So anybody out there want to send me a message, that would be great. If not,
while we're waiting for the message, let me jump right here, Jeff.
Okay.
Just looking at the international market space, we've seen that there are 36 countries around the world where medical cannabis has been legalized to some degree. Very few countries have made it 100% where it's available and get to use on a recreational basis, but the medical market is continuing to grow, not just here. For example, in Mexico, their Mexican Supreme Court extends the recreational cannabis legalization deadline, so they're working towards it. And you look at other countries, they're looking at it too. So again, when you're looking at this industry, it's not just here in the U.S. Canada has expanded its process and is extended opportunities there. Mexico is next step for that. And internationally, there will be some opportunities there. So continue to keep your eyes open, and there are tremendous opportunities available.
Thank you for that, Reggie. Let's see. I don't have any questions at the moment, so why don't we go back to, actually, wait a minute, hold on. Okay. Got one here, here we go. Is the fund derived out of Jobs Act changing crowdfunding? No, this is gonna be a private placement memorandum, and what our goal is with Cannabis Pitch Live is to have a fund that we could do our events. Just to let everybody know, our events are usually in person. We had our last event in Los Angeles, and right before the pandemic took over the world in February. And what we had was we had 20 people stand up and asking for funding. So we brought together cannabis athletes, cannabis people. There were quality people that had the ability to fund deals. They had the financial resources. They were vetted individuals, and you can find out more about our events at Cannabis Pitch Live. But what we're looking for is to couple the fund with the events that we do, so that the people that present have a chance to actually partner with our fund on top of the other investors that will be in the room, and give people more of an opportunity to be able to succeed and gain the financial resources that they need in order to grow their business or start their business from scratch. And that is where we're trying to develop the fund so that we can help and be a part of the solution at our future events. We will be having future events when the pandemic lifts. If the pandemic allows us to have one before the end of 2020, the site for it is going to be hopefully the New York area. And if it looks like we're going to be in the February colder winter months at the end of 2020, or 2021 in the beginning, it probably is going to be somewhere in the LA area. So Cannabis Pitch Live is trying to have another leverage point for our people that come to the events. And consider this, our events are not just trade shows that are exclusive to, they're not exclusive to just cannabis companies. If you run a company that is not a part of the cannabis industry, you will find much success at our events. For example, I'll give you a couple of people that have benefited by coming from other industries to our event and already have gained clients. One, we had a real estate agent came to the event. She bought a booth. We opened it up. The people came in. She's a high-end real estate agent that came in and did very well at our event. And she walked out with a lot of clients that are now her real estate clients. Secondly, we had a company that came in, Element One Digital, which is a good friend of mine, Tarek Abulasim. And Tarek came in, and what he did was he spoke to customers about the importance of their web-based presence. He was going to be on this call with us today. However, he did text me, and he said that he had some squirrels in his attic, so he had to go to Home Depot. He is unable to make it today, but he will rejoin our next meeting on May the 7th. But he came in and he did a very, he had a booth, he had a great presence, and he was able to take on clients from the event, teaching them, especially these clients that are startups that are coming in asking for money. So we had the ability to change people's businesses from our events that are not necessary just to the cannabis space. And let's take a look at another thing. I mean, we had success with many CBD companies that came, and there were good pieces of business being done. I know of 3 different opportunities for white labeling that are happening just because the CBD company came and put up a booth at our event. And now that company has 3 brand new clients. So our events are going to be held again. We can't wait to see everybody in person. We do want to continue doing these events online and to allow you to keep coming back and to keep listening to what's going on in the medical space, the medical marijuana space. We will always have someone to talk about that. We will have someone to talk about how we are moving forward in the ever-changing environment. I do see that we've had a few new faces pop up here. I want to point out that if you want a question answered or a topic brought up, or would like to have a moment to speak about your company and let us know what you're up to in this pandemic, please let us know in the group chat and address either myself, Joe, or Reggie. We're all monitoring the group chat. And, let's take a look at one other way that we can help. We are all good people. We are all in this for the right reasons. I have turned my company into a PPE and assistance organization alongside of continuing the cannabis efforts during the pandemic. And Joe and I are proud to tell you that we are selling opportunities such as raw ethanol, bottles for hand sanitizer. I have another gentleman with hospital beds that we can procure them through a gentleman in Philadelphia. So just as a networking piece, if you know people that are looking for personal protective equipment for the pandemic, we can help supply if you're looking to buy it in bulk.
Okay, so now let's go on off. We are not just philanthropic. We all are here because we need to figure out a path to making some money. We need to grow our businesses. We need to be proactive. We need to be planning our steps for the next step. I see Lynn has come and joined us. Thank you so much. And I know Lynn is in the process of moving forward with what he's doing. Thank you, Lynn. Michael Stewart, Justin, Kathy, Shirley, our Los Angeles. Lynn, do you have something to add to a value or have a comment? Talk to us, Lynn.
We're just pushing ahead, trying to raise money in this timing. We're seeing that we're a fintech type of entity for the industry, and everybody's saying that fintech is raising money. It's slow. A lot of from what we're seeing, as Jeff said, a lot of it is PPP assistance. The banks are very focused on getting their loans made because they are getting 5 points a loan for basically 90 days for the government taking care of it. So they're trying to, their focus is getting as much money in that area as they can right now. Banking is going to be very interesting. We've had some feedback from the regulators the industry, the regulators are not going to be doing any on-site examinations. They're allowing institutions where their people are not paying their required debt payments, when normally they would be considered classified loans. They're not being classified, so which basically says that the credit or the capital capacity of the institutions are becoming hit, but at the same time, the government is allowing them to be in this position for a period of time. What's going to happen afterwards? That's going to be an interesting question. But the banks are going to start needing to make money. So there's going to be a push for them to have new products that they're going to be able to take, which is going to make up for the losses that they've been incurring. So cannabis is one of those industries. They're also going to be taking a lot of hits from their clients in retail. You know, we're seeing that going on in any loans they've made in food industry. So it's going to be a changing times for all of us.
Absolutely.
Challenge, no doubt, as we move forward. I know, Kathy Shirley, you work with a lot of professional athletes and young guys looking to invest in this sector and interested in this sector. Give us your insights, Ms. Shirley.
Today was just to kind of learn, you know, what the future of this industry was and kind of where things were going, so that I could, you know, properly advise them. Most of the guys that I work with, they have their certified financial planners with, you know, the big places, Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley. True Capital is also one of the places that some of them use. And, you know, anytime we sit down and we tell them about different opportunities, they're always, you know, looking to vet things and, you know, ask questions about morality and all of that as well. And so, yeah, so I'm just kind of here just to gain some knowledge.
Welcome, Kathy. Thank you so much. Michael Stewart or Justin, you have a question or a comment or a thought?
I don't know if they can hear us or Justin.
Oh, they can hear us. They're
Justin?
not ready. Continue. Go ahead.
Justin just took his mute off, so.
No, I did.
Oh, okay.
Okay, no questions, guys, no comments. Thank you so very much for participating. As we move forward and continue with this process, again, this is a very new but growing industry. It will not go away, it will not die, it will not be, as some of the people that are anti-use of the cannabis, even for the medical marijuana, they can't stop the engine, right? So it's just a matter of finding good quality companies with good projects that make sense and understand that the ecosystem of this industry is evolving, emerging, and it's always about people and evolving relationships. So you need to get on these kinds of events and have conversations with people. And again, our next event is scheduled to be next week on Thursday the 8th, and we'll be definitely continuing this process and making information available to people. Any more comments, questions?
Reggie, that's actually Thursday, May 7th.
Yes, thank you, Jack, for clarifying that.
No problem.
Mr. Hager, anything else to add from the heartland of America? Joe?
Yeah.
Go
There
ahead,
you go.
Oh. Hey guys, sorry.
So Joe, give us a little bit more insight. What do you see as the biggest growth opportunity in the non-CBD or cannabis delivery dispensaries? But again, some of the people joined us late. So give us a little bit more of your insight on the edibles and the medical marijuana industry opportunities.
Sure. So earlier, what we chatted about a little bit was how the landscape will be changing. Social responsibility is going to become more important for each and every one of us who chooses to consume cannabis and who is operating a cannabis-oriented business. Having said that, I foresee edibles increasing in sales, which within my given business, part of edibles manufacturing operation in Oklahoma, we have seen that take place over the course of the past month and a half. I don't think that's going to let up. Furthermore, and one thing I don't think we chatted about during this discussion, but the not only the ingestibles but the drinkable market, I feel is going to be a big opportunity. And specifically, I see the Canadian company Canopy Growth Corp. Disclosure: I do own it. I'm not. I'm just giving a personal opinion. This doesn't mean anything. But I foresee them being a front runner in that sector. They've pumped a lot of capital from Constellation Brands into developing their formulas, and just this past quarter, they were finally released late in Canada because the Canadian market has been late to everything. Case in point, I see this sector starting to increase as a result of, one, just being rolled out, but two, because the pandemic and the times that we are facing ahead. So that's just a little bit as far as opportunities that I see that are have a very, very bright future for at least the next 2 to 3 years. So.
Sounds good. Thank you, Joe. Does anybody have anything that they thought of recently that they would like to discuss? Let's open it up for a little bit of a chat if you like.
I've got one thing. It's like in the last couple months, we're seeing a couple of the major players that have not been, as they say, tier 1 companies, meaning they're touching the flower or plant, entering into a very large scale manner into owning grow and distribution operations, such as High Times just announcing yesterday, Ease going into the the manufacturing distribution, growing and distribution. Thoughts on it, on whether that's going to continue, and thoughts on whether that is appropriate.
Joe, you want to take that?
So what's appropriate? I think the times are changing, like I said, and again, a part of that, I think any cannabis-based company has to have a certain amount of responsibility going forward. What we're going through will affect everything. Insurance companies, even for companies based specifically for vape-based products, this is going to affect their rate. Like it is already terrible, but they're going to face the most challenges. So to answer your question, I think people are going to have to be very forthright about what they're doing, why they're doing it. And personally, I believe the ones that are driving at the overall goal of more health conscious consumption, especially during these times, those will be the ones that have the potential to pull away, have the potential to influence, and have the potential to really change the way that people live their lives on a day-to-day. At the end of the day, why do people choose an edible? Because there is something for them, whether that be health concern, whatever, that they feel better about consuming that way. But again, what's going on right now, I think every single cannabis-based company needs to be doing anything that they can to make that socially conscious and responsible decision.
Reginald Grant here. Let me follow up. This is the wild, wild west. Yes, those that have a social conscience can make a positive impact on the lives of people individually, communities, or culture. I don't smoke weed, but I am a capitalist. And the problem is, I think I have some ethics in my life, but I don't believe and understand. I clearly understand that not everybody is going to be looking to serve the best interest of people. So again, it always evolves into relationships, and doing your due diligence and dealing with people that have the same kind of moral and ethical background that you have. So yes, Lynn, it is going to be a crazy place. Again, it's the wild, wild west. The regulations are changing. As we spoke about earlier, these companies are going in and gobbling up, like Pac-Man, these other companies that are on the edge, or even other companies that they see have an opportunity to be dominant and they can generate profits for their dividend holders and stockholders. So again, it's the business space. It is a wild, wild west. We have to be aware of what's going on and just position yourself to be in a position to deal with people that you're comfortable with and to also, of course, make money. Yeah?
All right, Reggie. So where should we take this from here? If there are no other questions, should we wrap it up for today, or do you have another point that you'd like to focus on?
No, I think we've covered a lot of ground, man. But this is hard stuff. We've covered a lot of ground. We'll see you next Thursday, as just said. Same bat time, same bat station. For those of you young, you don't know what that means, but it's all good. So again, thank everyone for participating. We appreciate you all. Invite your family and friends, your business associates, so we can continue to have a conversation on the state of the cannabis industry. And again, if we are capitalists, we do want to make money, but we want to do it in the right way. So we hopefully can provide some value and some information that you can use. And anything else, Jeff or Joe?
Yes, one last thing from me. As always, stay safe, follow social distancing, listen to your governors, and let's get through this together.
Have an exceptional day, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. We'll see you next week.
Have a
Take
good one.
care, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Thanks.